Okay, great. Here we are. My name is Chris Barr. I'm the Director of Marketing for Taradel. And today we're going to do a live stream, which is going to be a pretty cool format because anybody who's watching, whether you're an existing customer or somebody that is just interested in business and marketing, can submit your own questions about sales or marketing, and it could range from how do I get new people in the door to things that your competitors are doing, and any kind of way that we might be able to help you with those types of questions. So we're going to try and do these more often. I think it's a great way to engage with business owners, nonprofit organizations. There are so many different users of kind of marketing technologies and marketing channels that I think it's important that we learn about best practices and how to invest into marketing channels or platforms that generate a return. There's so much, from my experience at least, in doing this for about 10 years, there's so much waste out there in terms of, let's throw money at something and hope it sticks and makes a difference for our business or organization. But in reality, unless you set up a marketing campaign, unless you set it up correctly, you're just putting dollars into something, hoping you get a return, but there's really no data points that are collected along the way. And the problem with that is if you don't have data points that are a result of every marketing effort you put money into, then you really don't ever know how to improve it, right? So even if you run a campaign and it doesn't do much for your business, you can make a data point out of that and say, okay, here's why it didn't work, or here's what we could do next time a little better. So there's so many ways to run marketing campaigns, whether it's social media, YouTube Live, direct mail, radio, TV, and then even kind of local community-based marketing where you're doing fundraisers or sponsoring events, that kind of thing. There's so many different ways that it's really a bear to kind of wrap your arms around it all. And especially if you're a small business where you don't have endless resources or a lot of staff members that are available to put things together, build them from the ground up the right way, and see through the entire execution of the marketing campaign. It's just really tough to do well. So today I'm going to talk about a few things, but what I'd really like to do is offer any of our viewers an opportunity to submit your questions in the live chat, and I'm going to do my best to give you advice or respond to your questions, and hopefully provide you with some information that you can use right away to make a difference for your own business or organization. So, please submit your questions. We'll make that a big part of today's stream, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun in the process. So to get started, today is March 1st. It's a beautiful, sunny, 80-degree day here at our corporate office in Richmond, Virginia. So everybody is in a very good mood. It seems like the winter is kind of in the rearview mirror, which is nice. So everybody's energized and ready to go. One of the things a lot of our customers are doing in terms of marketing and sales as we head into the spring, and they're looking to kind of kickstart business and activity, is direct mail marketing. Most of our customers and prospects know us from our direct mail marketing services, and that's really kind of our core business. It's what we're really, really good at. We've mailed over 100 million direct mail pieces, and we get a ton of feedback from customers, so we really know what works and what doesn't. So one of the things a lot of our customers ask us is, if I do a direct mail campaign, one, how do I set it up to get the best possible results? And then two, what type of response rates should I expect? So let's start with just some basic direct mail tips. When you're building a direct mail campaign, there are a few things that you've got to do to set yourself up for success. First, you've got to know who the audience is. Okay. So with any type of marketing, unless you understand who your target audience is, there's, it's going to be very challenging for you to get a great response. So a target audience, let's look at a couple examples. So if you're a pediatrician, your target audience is going to be parents within a specific geographic range from your medical practice. And these are going to be, families with children, who make a certain amount of income per year. Maybe they tend to be homeowners as opposed to renters. You want to understand, what does that, person look like? Okay. Once you understand who that person is that you're, trying to target with your services or your products, then and only then can you start to craft the message. So knowing that audience is absolutely critical to getting a good response. So if you know your average customer or patient in this case is, a mom or a dad with, young children in the home, you're going to want to, use a communication message type that resonates with them. So maybe it's something about, how to prevent, getting the flu this year, or how to respond if your child breaks, his leg at soccer practice, or, some type of message that, is going to resonate with them, where parents are like, you know what, I can identify with that. Johnny broke his leg last year, or, Susie got sick. What can we do to, protect them? So maybe the angle on your marketing collateral is how to make things easy for parents, reassure them that they're making the right decision, and then maybe offer convenience. If you're a pediatrician, maybe you do urgent care after hours, right? And you've got, this wide range of times that any parent anywhere, no matter the situation, could come see you. So you want to think along those lines. Further, you'll want to consider the image or images that you use in your marketing collateral. So if you're going after parents, you probably want to use an image of a family with children, or maybe just a picture of a child or several children, with a Band-Aid on their elbow or something like that. So right away, when that target audience or that prospect receives your direct mail piece, they can say, you know what, that makes sense to me. I understand, kids get, bumps and bruises, or, that image is going to resonate with them. So what you wouldn't want to do is use an image of like, a chair in a medical office, or something that has a negative connotation, right? People want to focus on, the results or the benefit. If you're a dentist and you're promoting a service, you certainly wouldn't want to send out a direct mail postcard with a picture of like a drill, right? That's going to turn people off. So you want to make sure that the message, the image, all that is consistent with who your target audience is. Okay. In terms of response rates, this one is the trickiest question, and everybody wants to know, if I do direct mail, what type of response am I going to get? Well, there are some averages out there. So if you're using a completely new prospect list, so with Every Door Direct Mail, for example, according to the DMA, who is the Data and Marketing Association that kind of does all these studies and puts out the benchmarks for performance, not just for direct mail, but for social media and all these different marketing channels. With a new prospect list, which is basically just Every Door Direct Mail or some type of non-in-house list that you've put together, the response rates are usually around 1%. Okay. Now that can vary greatly. So if you're a pizzeria and you're doing a buy one get one free pizza deal, as you can imagine, you're going to get a much higher response rate than somebody who's doing $5 off a $20 order. So while the averages across all industries are 1%, there are certain things you can do through messaging and offers to really drive those rates up. Now, if you're using an in-house list, so if you've got a list of customers or prospects for your business, or maybe a very highly targeted list that you've purchased, your response rates can go up, past 4% on average. So again, this comes back to, the audience that you're targeting is so important in terms of, just setting yourself up for success. But the rest of it is what you can control to a large degree, which is, your offer, your messaging, adding some type of time-sensitive element to the campaign. All of these things that you can incorporate into your messaging and your offer can drive response rates way up. Okay, so figure somewhere between 1 and 4% average response rate. The more aggressive you can be with your offer, the higher you might be able to take that. The other important statistic I'll share with you is that direct mail on average can provide a 15 to 17% average return on investment. So it's a very healthy return on investment. The only other channel I think that compares to that on average is social media. So that's a very good place to be if you're a business owner or an advertiser. You want that type of built-in success rate. So from there, it's just a matter of getting as much as you can as you go to market. So that's kind of the top two questions we get about direct mail. As how can you do a great job with it, and what kind of response rates can you expect? But let's kind of flip over to another hot topic that a lot of small business owners and organizations talk about a lot, but they may not fully understand or put into action. So let's talk about the importance of building your own list. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you're a pizzeria, a medical practice, a landscaper. It really doesn't matter what industry you're in. In today's environment, as a business owner or organization, you need to be a very data-rich company. So to put that in perspective, let's say you've been operating a restaurant for 10 years. And you've got the best food, you've got a great reputation, your Yelp reviews are through the roof and everything is going great. Well, one of these days, when you want to sell that business, the value of your business is going to be dramatically impacted by the list that you have, okay, the data that your company owns. To put it very, succinctly, your database of existing customers or prospective customers is one of the most valuable assets that your company has. If you were looking to buy a business and you had a choice between a restaurant who has been open for 10 or 20 years with a great reputation, but has no list or just a few names on their list, versus a newer business, maybe that's been open for a year or two, but they've got a database of 1, 2, 3,000 local names and email addresses. The smart move, even though that other company is so much more established and has a great reputation, the smart business move in terms of return on investment or potential for future growth would be with the second option, the company that's more data rich. So if you don't have a list for your business, or you don't actively capture information from every customer and prospect that quote unquote walks through your door, I highly recommend that you do that. So there's a couple of great ways to do that. One is if you have a brick and mortar retail shop, you can do things maybe at the checkout counter or with an iPad that's set up somewhere in the store, where you can say, hey, give us your name and email address and we'll give you a discount right here on the spot. So most people, in order to give you their information, they need some value in return, right? So that value could be anything such as, receiving updates and news from your organization, or it could be a direct, offer or discount. So if somebody's at checkout and you say, hey, can we get your name and email and we'll take 10% off your total? The answer is overwhelmingly going to be yes. And although it might cost you a little bit up front, the ability to capture their information and market to them in the future, and just have that as an asset is tremendously important. So if you do that every day at the checkout counter, you can capture, maybe dozens of contacts per day. And if you think about that over the course of, every day, every week, every month, every year, this time next year, you could have thousands more people in your database that you can market to and use to grow your business. Okay. The other thing to consider is that you're in most cases paying to get somebody in the door the first time. So whether that's through digital marketing, like on Google, for example, or whether you did a big new sign outside of the store, no matter what, there's some cost associated with bringing that customer in. So make sure that you maximize the return on that investment. Every time you pay to get somebody in the door, you owe it to yourself to capture that person's information so that you can continue to grow and sell in the future. Okay. The other great way to get information is obviously, through digital means, right? Most information these days is captured through some type of online environment. The best way to do that is through your website, obviously. Your website, if you're a business, and really if you're an organization that relies on, any type of, support from consumers or the general public, it's a great idea to design your website as a funnel, right? So you want to put as many prospective leads into the top of that funnel as possible, and then have a very refined process that you've tested and optimized to take all of those, all of that potential and funnel it down into a lead. So on the homepage of your website, you might have something that says, enter your name and email to sign up for our newsletter, or to, get a discount, or to be entered to win a free service or a free product. All of these different things can really help grow that database quickly. So make sure that your website, is universally designed to capture data. I think that if you do that, you'll see a tremendous amount of growth very quickly. And you typically get the biggest lift. So if you're not doing this right now, then you can get a huge, incremental lift in data capture, obviously, if you put something like this into place. Even if you capture data currently, a lot of times businesses and organizations that we work with will have some things in place, but they don't really put a lot of effort or resources into it. And again, I would urge you that even if you've got some type of sign-up form or conversion form on your website or in your store, take a closer look at it if you think there's some room for improvement there. It can make all the difference in the world as you grow your business, and then ultimately one day when you want to sell or retire, what have you, or even pass it down to your kids. You want to have everything, as good as it can be in terms of lead generation and, getting a higher lifetime value out of each prospect and customer that you work with. So, capturing data is huge. You can use that data once you have it for direct mail campaigns. You could send to everybody that joins your list a marketing postcard with an offer on it. If you get deep into the data with each customer, maybe you'll find out, you could ask, when is their birthday, right? And on their birthday every year, you send them a free dessert or a discount offer. Or something attractive. And what that does is it just keeps you more closely engaged with each prospect or customer. And it really can help your reputation as well, right? This is a business or an organization that goes the extra mile to be customer centric. They put a lot of effort into what they do. And most small businesses and organizations are localized. One, county or town or city or another. So, being active within that community and having a great reputation is just so important, right? So capture data, do everything you can to set yourself up for success. And a few years down the road, when you've got thousands of people on your list and things are buzzing along, you'll be really glad you did. All right. So we've got several dozen people on the live stream right now. Does anybody have any questions about your own sales or marketing challenges, or maybe some things that you're currently trying to do to to move the needle as we head into spring here? I'll give everybody a couple minutes to enter their questions into live chat, and then I will be happy to address them and see if I can help. So get your questions in. One thing I'll recommend for everybody, we've been talking a lot about direct mail and marketing. We've got a free marketing success kit. Let me see if I can get this on the stream. Yep, there it is. Okay, so this marketing success kit is absolutely free. Inside, it's got a ton of information. It's got pricing for direct mail, so you know exactly how much your investment would be into a direct mail campaign. It's got a lot of how-tos and benefits, things that you can read about and then very quickly put into play. And it's also got, and this is one of our most popular pieces of content. This is, I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's a direct mail checklist. So if you're looking to do an outreach, to new prospects and customers, this checklist right here, if you've never done direct mail before, or even if you have, but you want to try it again or try to improve it, this checklist is something that myself, our graphic design professionals, and some other marketing consultants that we work with who have many years of experience, we kind of took all of our ideas and said, okay, what are the top, dozen things that you've got to do when you're building and executing a direct mail campaign? And everything is listed right here. So that is part of this marketing kit. And again, this is absolutely free. Let me post the link in the stream chat here. And you can use that link to get your copy right now. In fact, you can download this in a digital format, like that. So, go check that out. It's absolutely free, and it can only help. There's a ton of information. Okay, great. So, what I'll do is I'll answer a few questions that I've received this week, just through normal, daily communications with our customers. One customer was asking me about turnaround time. So if you want to put together a direct mail marketing campaign, from the time you kind of submit your order, how long does it take for your direct mail postcards or flyers or coupons to get into the hands of prospective customers? And the average is about 2 to 3 weeks, okay? So that's the short answer. But that can be a lot quicker or take a little bit longer depending on one big factor, and that is the artwork, okay? So if you've got a postcard or a coupon designed and ready to go, maybe you're good with Photoshop and InDesign, or you've got a staff member or even a child that does that stuff. If you've got your artwork ready to go, you can typically build and launch your campaign in about 10 minutes through our website. And literally within 1 to 2 weeks, your offer can be printed and in the mailboxes, okay? And you can start getting a response right away. There's a couple other design options. So if you don't have your artwork ready to go, then we've got thousands of free design templates that you can browse, and really you can search them by keyword. You can browse them by industry, and a free template will really speed things up. And with a free template, typically what happens is, you'll find a design that you like, and then we can add your logo, your phone number, your website, your offer, and we just kind of customize those main items, contact information, offer, and any sales copy or messaging that you want to include. If you do that, that's a pretty quick process, and your offers from start to finish will probably be in the homes within 2 to 3 weeks. Now there's a third option, which is getting a custom design from scratch. So with that type of option, you'll work one-on-one with a designer. They're going to ask you all the right questions. They're going to learn about your business, and they're going to say, things like, what is your goal with this campaign? What do your customers want to see, in your opinion, and then, what are your competitors doing? And you'll get that really one-to-one professional guidance, and then a very custom result. So you can get literally a postcard or flyer, any type of direct mail piece designed from scratch, and it can make all the difference in the world. So if you don't have your own design, or there's not a template that you think is a great fit, with our professional design service, we can design everything for you from scratch, and you'll get a great result. Okay, so we've got a question in our chat from Steve. Hey, Steve. Is it more to print both sides of the mail? And do you have a way of keeping up with the web to see where your piece is tracking? Okay, those are great questions. So it's not anymore to print on both sides of the mail piece. So if you want to do a full color postcard or flyer that is printed full color front and back with offers and information, it costs the exact same amount to do that as it does just to do a one-sided piece, or even a black and white piece for that matter. That's a really good question, because a lot of folks out there think printing in full color or doing a glossy finish or just doing one side only can really impact the price. And with commercial grade printing, such as what Taradel offers, we run it on a giant web printing press, almost like what a newspaper would print on. And it's extremely efficient. There's no additional cost whatsoever. And let me show you an example here. So let's say you're a restaurant and you want to do a beautiful full color pizza menu front and back. You can do this for the exact same price as if you printed this black and white. Okay, or if you want to do a postcard, something like that, costs the exact same amount. In terms of tracking, so since direct mail is inherently an offline type of marketing channel, there's no way to track it step by step. But here's what you can do. The most important thing with direct mail is to know when it's going to deliver into homes. So we do let you, when you're ordering a direct mail campaign, we do let you pick a date range where your mail is guaranteed to be in homes. So for example, we do a lot of direct mail marketing for customers when Black Friday is right around the corner, right? So Black Friday, there's one day. If you miss it, you're out of luck. So what we do is we let advertisers, when they're building their campaigns with us, pick, I want my mail to deliver between Monday and Friday of this week. And we make sure that happens. So with that knowledge, you can plan everything accordingly. You can make sure you have the right amount of inventory. You can, staff up and get your staff ready. So it's very easy to predict when that mail will deliver. And on top of that, if you want to track actual response, if you use a special coupon code on the direct mail piece that is unique to that marketing campaign, you'll know that every time somebody, calls and places an order or orders online or comes into the store with a coupon, you'll know that that transaction is a direct result of your direct mail marketing campaign. The other really popular way to track response with direct mail is with a call tracking phone number. There are some really easy ways to set up a call tracking 800 number, like 1-800 pizza, or 888 golf clubs, whatever it is. There's a lot of great ways to do that, and it only costs a couple dollars, like literally only a couple dollars, to put a call tracking number on your direct mail piece. So if you've got a unique phone number on your direct mail piece, you'll know that every call or customer that comes in through that phone number was a result of your investment into direct mail. So if you want more information about that, you can give Taradel a call, email us, live chat us on taradel.com, and we can help you with that. So great questions. Another question just came in from Adams. Adam, hey, it's good to meet you here today. Can you do letters or just postcards? So with direct mail, in most cases, if you're using every door direct mail, you're going to be sending out big marketing postcards or flyers. Something that looks, and let me just pick up my feed here. Excuse me. Okay, so if you're using Everydoor Direct Mail, you're typically sending out a big postcard or flyer, something like this. You can also do a giant brochure or newsletter format. In this case, there's a takeout menu. But if you want to do letters in an envelope, that's more of a custom project, and it's going to cost you a little more too, because you have to pay for the envelope, the letter, putting it all together, addressing everything. We don't specialize in that. There's certainly lots of resources out there that can do that. But for marketing purposes, the best thing you can do is send what's called a commercial flat. So just a piece that delivers into the mailbox by itself. And if you can use a larger format, you'll typically get a better response rate. The other thing about this type of marketing piece that's really attractive is if you're looking through your mail that day, let's say you get home from work and you're looking through your mailbox. If there's a letter that doesn't look really important, so if it doesn't have, your grandma's name on it, or it's not from a family member or somebody that you're doing business with currently, you're really unlikely just to say, this is junk mail and throw it aside. But if you send out a commercial flat, which is a giant postcard or flyer like this, even if you're just kind of skimming through your mail, you're going to see that company's name or that offer, right? So even if you're flipping through your mail, you're going to see Bella Villa Pizza or dental care, and you'll know right away that this is something that may or may not interest you. When things are in an envelope, and while that can be effective in certain cases, insurance is big on it, and some more sensitive industries, like medical practices sometimes use that. If there's some kind of sensitive nature to the product or service you sell, an envelope can present a little better. But if you're, a service provider or a retailer, in most cases, making that impression and getting in front of that customer as quickly as possible is going to pay off. So that's another great question. Thank you for submitting those questions, Steve and Adam. If you have any others, please post them. And anybody else that's watching, if you've got a marketing or sales related question, or maybe something a competitor's doing that's concerning you, feel free to participate, and I'll take a crack at it. So direct mail, generally speaking, a larger format is going to get you a better response rate. It's kind of obvious that, in a mailbox, if you do a small postcard or a giant postcard, the giant one is going to get more visibility. And the good thing about a lot of the direct mail services out there, in particular, Everydoor Direct Mail, which is the one that lets you reach every mailbox in your local market at a really low rate. The cost difference between a 6x9 postcard or a giant 8.5x11 postcard is only about 2 cents per piece in most cases. So there's no way if somebody looks at their mail that they're going to miss an 8.5x11 postcard from your business. If you have a grand opening, the giant format is a great way to literally overnight generate a ton of awareness. It's really popular for that instance. And just in general, if you have a seasonal business or there's a big event that's kind of like a make or break you event, use a giant, direct mail piece and a larger format to get, more attention. For $100 more, like if you're doing a few thousand direct mail pieces, for $100 more, you could kind of, supersize it and get a whole lot more attention. So I'm glad you guys asked those questions. What is the best way to try your mail piece to see how your ad is doing? So Steve, that's a great question again. I think what you're asking, is there a way to do a test with direct mail to see what works or what doesn't? The answer is yes, absolutely. So let me give you an example. I worked with a restaurant a while back who had a great business, very successful. They were profitable. And they were looking for a way to move the needle. And they had tried a whole bunch of different things. But this one offer they had, if I remember correctly, it was like $14.99 for a large pizza, a drink, and breadsticks. It was, some kind of bundle deal like that. Well, it was $14.99. Everybody in the town knew it because they had been around for so long. But when they were putting that offer out there or doing marketing, they weren't getting a great response anymore. In a way, I think a lot of people, that were buying from them just knew that deal. They would call up and just say, I want that deal, and the business would give it to them. So in terms of bringing in new customers, they were having a challenge because they didn't really know how to present that. So what we did is we sent out, I think it was a 4¼ by 11 postcard, and that is a long, skinny type postcard like this. It's just like a long, skinny format. And on one of what we did is we took what they were doing and used that as the control. So in other words, they mailed that postcard out to like 1,000 customers or prospects in their area. And then we created a second version of that direct mail piece. And what we did is we put that offer, that $14.99 offer, inside of like a coupon format. So, it had like the dotted lines around the offer. And what we did is we just made that look like a coupon, okay? So while on version A, it just referenced that deal and had some other information about, what they offer. On the second version, we kind of made it look like a special offer with a coupon kind of styling to it. So they sent that version out to a separate 1,000 customers and prospects. And the response was very dramatic. The difference between the offer that didn't look like a coupon and the one that did, it had a huge difference. And everything was the same except for the way that offer was presented. So the lesson here is that the appearance of added value or just the look and feel of an offer versus, just a generic message, just that one simple difference can make all the difference in the world. So you can do a couple of different things. You can test the same offer and different ways of presenting it. You can test 2 different offers and see which one gets the best response. And then what I typically recommend is, use a control and then use a test and find out the winner. Once you identify the winner, send that version out to the bigger audience. So if you're targeting, let's say you have a total target of about 10,000 prospects in your local market, and you send 1,000 of version A, and then you send 1,000 of version B. So 2,000 total people have received an offer from you. Whichever one pulls better, then send that version to the other 8,000 people, okay? And if you do that, you'll learn a little bit about what works and what doesn't, and you'll send the best offer that you have available at that time to the bulk of the prospects. So that is an excellent question. You can certainly set up, small tests and find out what works and what doesn't. And then once you get something that you're confident in and it's based on data, then go all out with it. And really that becomes your new control. When you find something that beats your existing control, such as like a new offer or something like that, make that your new control. And then the next time you do marketing, test against that. So you're always trying to get better. So that's an excellent question. I'm glad you mentioned that. Good job, Steve. David asked a question. For EDDM, what is the largest flat size to mail? So the largest size that we offer is an 11 by 17, and that is a giant, typically folded flyer. This format can be folded in half or tri-folded. And a lot of people use these for newsletters, community type, events, or auto dealers also use these a lot because they'll have, dozens of vehicles that are promoted and on sale, and they'll use this as like a giant, sales flyer. So the 11 by 17 is the biggest. When it comes to postcards for every door direct mail, there are 3 sizes that we offer and that seem to really work well. The first is the 4¼ by 11, and this is the long, skinny looking postcard. It's great if you just have one coupon or a very simplistic message because there's not a whole lot of real estate to work with. But if you want to get a coupon into somebody's hands, it's perfect. Okay. The other, and this is probably the most widely used format, is the 6¼ by 9 postcard. So this is a slightly oversized postcard format. It's larger than a typical 4 by 6 postcard that you'd see. And it's really like a workhorse. If you've got a couple or several different offers, you can usually fit it on here. But it also gives you plenty of room for images and information. So this is definitely the workhorse. It's a great kind of middle of the road choice if you're not sure how big or how small of a postcard to use. And then, as I referenced earlier, the big 8.5 by 11, this is the same size as a sheet of paper like on your home printer. And it goes in the mailbox like that, flat. So nobody can miss it if they're looking at the mail. It's a nice card stock too, so it's very substantial. And this is the biggest postcard size that we offer. So for postcards, there's kind of like a small, medium, and large. And then for flyers or brochures, there's that big folded piece that we do. So you have to really look about, who's your audience and what are you trying to promote? Do you have a lot of different offers to promote or a lot of different products, or just one main, coupon or promotion? And that should help you make that decision. Ron asked, are you limited to the radius you can mail to from your store address? No, absolutely not. So if you're a local business, one of the most popular ways to target prospects is to take your address and make that a pinpoint on the map and then do a radius. It could be 1 mile or 2 miles or 3 miles around your business. But that's not the only way. Another popular way is to use drive time. So if you go to everydoordirectmail.com and you build a Everydoor Direct Mail campaign, there's targeting tools built in to that campaign building process where you can target by radius or drive time. Drive time uses the same type of GPS-driven data like you'd have in your car to estimate how far prospects live from your business. So this is really good. Like if you have some type of delivery business, like a restaurant, or maybe you provide water to businesses or something like that, and that, hey, 90% of the time my customers live within 5 minutes of my business or 10 minutes from my business. Drive time is a great way to target new prospects as well, because if you're close in proximity to a prospect, you're much more likely to get their business as opposed to a competitor who may be more or have a closer proximity to that prospect. So drive time is a great way as well. But if there are certain neighborhoods that do really well for you, or maybe there's a new market that's close by that you want to develop, you can literally just use your own approach to targeting to go after them. So if there's a zip code or neighborhoods that you want to reach out to, you can literally, using the tools on our website, you can point and click where you want your mail to be delivered, and then you can go after just those neighborhoods. So you could target, one location 3 miles from you, and then maybe across the river there's another few communities or subdivisions or something that you want to target. You can do that as well, and you can custom build a delivery map. You could even target some areas in Virginia and some in New York and some in California. You can do it pretty much any way you want. That's one of the beautiful things about direct mail is you control where your offers deliver and when they deliver. So great question. Rhett, hey Rhett, I remember you. We've worked together before. Rhett asked, when sorting household lists for a restaurant campaign, which list parameters have you found most critical, and is there a particular order? So when sorting household lists for a restaurant campaign, so by household list, I think you're talking about, what kind of household demographics would you recommend targeting? So if you can use the chat rec and just confirm that's what you're thinking about. But I can start talking about that. I've worked extensively in the restaurant industry. I've been in Pizza Today and, thousands of restaurants and pizzerias in particular. And what's really cool about the restaurant industry is you don't need a whole lot of targeting to be successful. So, if you're a medical practice like a pediatrician, you've got to target homes with children. But if you're in the restaurant industry, in most cases, everybody's got to eat, right? So if you've got a great offer, then, pretty much anybody is a potential customer. So you just replied that demographics such as age, income, and kids. So, okay. So if you know, look at your average customer. If you have a database, you might want to run an analysis, by address. How close do they live to your business? Or if you know through franchisees that communicate, or from your own experience, that your average customer is 25 to 55 and they live within a couple miles of your restaurant. Any data that you have existing for your restaurant or your company should drive your approach to marketing. Okay. So think about, what does your average customer look like? Are you a quick serve restaurant and your typical customer is busy parents with kids who, they both work full time and they can't get home and make dinner, in a good, effective way, or whatever the case may be. Use whatever data you have to drive that kind of marketing plan. So you should always plan these things out before you do direct mail or any kind of marketing. Target that audience, know who your customer is, and that could really vary greatly depending on your business. Chuck E. Cheese, for example, is going to want to only target homes with kids, right? Because by and large, adults don't go to Chuck E. Cheese, to get dinner or get takeout on their own. But if they have children, then that's a game changer, right? That's a perfect prospect. But if you're, it could be anything, a Chinese restaurant or your standard Italian restaurant, or if you're a pizzeria that does, $5 or $10 pizza deals, you've got a really wide net in terms of prospective customers. So if that's the case, you're probably more concerned with proximity to your business as opposed to actual demographics. Everybody likes pizza, right? So whether you're 18 in college or 60 years old and retired, you still might have a pizza night every week. So great question. So let me look through here. Sarah asked a good question. Do you have to mail to established postal routes, or can you do a simple radius around a specific address? So with Every Door Direct Mail, thank you for the question, Sarah. With Every Door Direct Mail, typically you are targeting by postal route, okay? So if you want to do a 3-mile radius around a business, what you would do is just target every postal route that is within that 3-mile radius. Now, here's where an issue typically comes up. What if a postal route is half in and half out of that radius, right? So right at the border of that radius, if somebody's a little further out, do you include that whole route or not? And my advice is, in that case, if there's a route that kind of crosses the 3-mile threshold or whatever your radius is, if 50% or more of that route is within the radius, go ahead and mail to it and include it in your campaign. If not, then you might want to consider excluding it, because more people are out of that criteria than in. Now, if that won't work for you, if you don't want to do an entire postal route, then you'll need to switch from Every Door Direct Mail to personalized mail. And personalized mail is just a nice name for using a mailing list, right? So personalized mail lets you build a mailing list at a much deeper level, where you can literally pick, by individual addresses, which addresses are included or excluded. So in that case, you could do a radius and make sure that every single address is within your campaign, and anything out of that radius is out. So Every Door Direct Mail is better for most types of small businesses if you just need massive reach and to maximize exposure. But for certain businesses like medical, or maybe general contractors who go after homes of a certain value or things like that, you'll want to use personalized mail or a mailing list. Okay. Great question, Sarah. That's an excellent one. Let's see here. Another question we get is about using direct mail for new customer acquisition versus direct mail for customer retention. So this is really important, because a lot of people, when they think of direct mail, they just think of going after new customers, trying to reach new prospects and bring them on board. But what about using direct mail for customer retention, right? These are people you've already paid to get in the door. They probably already love your business or your organization if they purchased from you or supported from you. So if you've got a mailing list, right, you can basically take that mailing list, as long as you have it like in a spreadsheet format, you can upload it and then send postcards or offers to every single person on your list. And if you're not doing that, you should definitely be doing it. One thing I can say anecdotally, and I'm a little bit guilty of this myself, is that once you have a mailing list, it's so easy just to put out an email, right? It's just quick, it's easy, you can do it any time of the day, you can create them on the fly. But if all you do is send out emails or post on social media, you're missing a ton of potential revenue, because nothing drives actual transactions more than direct mail. The numbers from the DMA, I think Forbes recently did an article on this. Digital is really, really powerful in its own right, really for research and for getting messages out there quickly and gaining exposure. But when it comes to getting people to buy, direct mail drives more transactions than every digital channel combined. And there was a Canada Post, which is Canada's version of the U.S. Postal Service. They funded a big neuromarketing, it's like neuroscience or neuromarketing study, where they basically showed consumers the same ad in a direct mail format and a digital format. It was the exact same ad, just two different formats. And the direct mail format, the printed version, people recalled it 75% of the time. So the people that looked at it remembered the company, the brand, and the offer about 75% of the time. But when they looked at the exact same thing in a digital format, they only recalled it 44% of the time. So a dramatic drop, almost half, it almost cut in half. There's something about the way people are wired for physical interaction. And if you think about it, a direct mail piece, you can hold it. You have to do something with it. Even if you don't want it, you still have to deal with it, right? You've got to put it in the trash or recycle it, or maybe you stick it on the fridge for later. But with digital communications, you don't have to do that, right? You can just, click X and delete something, or not even look at it at all in the first place and not handle it at all. And the other thing is, when somebody's got your offer in their hand, they are focused, right? There's like a moment for them to think, right? So if somebody's looking at an email, they probably got a dozen other emails in their inbox that they're, what do I click next? What do I click next? What's the next move? Or if somebody's searching for something on Google, there's your company, but maybe there's a whole list of other competitors that show up. So people are always, when they're online, they're always anticipating the next click or the next thing to do. Or maybe while they're looking at something and maybe thinking about buying from you, they get a notification on Facebook that their friend just posted something, right? And they get distracted and they go away and maybe they don't come back. So whatever it is, whether you're reading like a printed book or looking at direct mail, there's something about this marketing channel that gives people the time and space to actually make a decision. Even if it only takes a second or two, they're still focused on that one task for a moment. And that's really, really powerful. And I think that's why direct mail drives such higher response rates and more sales than a lot of other channels. It's just that kind of pause, right? It's refreshing that lets people make a decision. So anyway, we could go on about that all day. But definitely, if you've got a list of customers or prospects that you've worked hard to build and spent money building your database, upload it. If you go to directmail.taradel.com, you can take your Excel database, upload it, and in 5 minutes you can have a direct mail campaign on its way out to every one of those prospects and customers. So think about direct mail for new customer acquisition, but also for current customer retention. If you do direct mail plus email plus social media, and you've got that integrated approach with consistent messaging, you'll see a lift, generally speaking, across the board. It's not enough just to do one or the other these days. You need a very well-rounded, integrated marketing approach. Okay? Let me see if there's any other questions. This has been really fun just while I'm at it. This live stream, I think, is a really cool way to engage with people. I love talking to you guys. I think you're asking great questions. So we'll definitely plan to do this a lot more. And I think I'll bring in some other folks from our staff or maybe some other marketing consultants that I work with for some big companies to join us in the future. So hopefully today this is going okay and you can hear me okay and see everything. We'll get better at this, and I want to definitely engage more with the small business community and our customers. I think this is really cool. So in the interest of time, we've almost been up for an hour now. I'm going to wrap this up. Again, if you have any more questions, go to taradel.com. We've got a 800 number you can call and speak to a real person right away. We've got live chat, so you can start chatting with somebody right now. And there's just a whole bunch of great resources and ways to get in touch that perhaps we can help your business. We'd certainly like to keep the conversation going. So with that, happy March 1st, everybody. We're hopefully heading out of the winter, so I hope that energizes you and helps you kickstart your marketing. And we'll see you again very soon. Thank you so much. Have a good day.